Thank you so much for staying tuned to this frequency and welcome to International Forum. I am Wilson Marshall. Sincere apologies for coming slightly behind schedule. We have to put up logistics to give you a wonderful show. Well, today it's all about coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you choose to call it, that is what it is. It's a pandemic and the world is really doing its best to cope with the pandemic. But some persons have been talking about the way and manner by which the American government led by Donald Trump is handling the issue, because right now in America we have over 1.3 million infected persons in America, though they are the ones that has the highest test in the world, close to 9.9 million, going to 10 million if I'm not making a mistake. Number of deaths also seems to be the highest in America. But something happened. You know, the former president of America, Barack Obama, when he was asked the way and manner by which this administration led by Donald Trump handled the pandemic when it got to America, he used the term disastrous. Yes, devastating. Just pick one. And many people have been talking about it, but the staff of Donald Trump are saying Obama is not absolutely correct, that Trump values the life of Americans and did the best possible to make sure that American lives were saved. What are your opinions? What are your views on this? With me here in the studio, I have a legal practitioner, Barrister Chima Williams. Barrister, welcome to International Forum.
Thank you very much.
It's been a while.
Well, you know, we have to comply with government directive on COVID-19. Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Yes.
Okay, thank God you are here. Now,
Thank you.
Barack Obama, the former president of America, I was asked the way the present administration led by Donald Trump is handling the COVID-19 pandemic. From what he said, he wasn't really satisfied with the way Donald Trump has been handling the issues. And it was like the way and manner by which this administration is handling this pandemic is devastating, is disastrous, is uncalled for because of the highest number so far in the globe that is recorded by American society. Take it up from there.
Well, you see, the former president is entitled to his own opinion, okay, which is a fundamental right to express it, you know, within the ambit of the law, anyhow he wants it, okay. But yes, agreed that the way, you know, the U.S. administration from the onset, you see, the biggest problem with COVID-19, which I do not think dwells only with the American government, most of the governments of the world suffered the same problem. They did not believe that coronavirus, you know, was going to be a global problem. I was in the States. I was in US, you know, at the early stage.
All right.
Okay? And I saw that not just the presidency, not just the administration, the US citizens themselves did not believe that coronavirus, you know, was real. That was, you know, if you recall, the administration started with, it is a Chinese virus.
Yeah.
Okay? So nobody took it serious. The government was, you know, Trump in his characteristic manner was, you know, playing showman with it, with, you know, coronavirus. So, but by the time the impact started hitting America, everybody started running helter-skelter. And by that time, it was already late. And that is the challenge and the problem that, you know, had made coronavirus a global epidemic. Okay? That most governments did not take it serious. Otherwise, you know, the lockdowns that we started experiencing should have been done, you know, long time ago. And this is where the Chinese government, you know, is ahead of other governments, because they saw this coming They quarantined an entire city to contain. Okay? And they fished it out and dealt with it from there. And, of course, the trickles that escaped started spreading all over the world. And this is how we had it, the way it is. But, of course, if you follow the, U.S. administration follow-up, I mean, when the heat became hard on everybody, the style changed a little bit. But this is one thing that I have always said about most American leaders. Except it hits America, they live in denial. They do not agree. We can talk about climate change issues. Until it started hitting America, left, front, back, center, America still did not believe, that climate change is real. Okay? Those are the corridors of power. We're only looking at climate change issue, from security perspective. Not the real problem that it poses, the danger that it poses to the entire world.
All right now, but haven't discovered that the coronavirus is real. Still, we see some cases in America skyrocketing to the extent that American numbers of infection, they make up almost the chunk of global infection. I mean, there must be an iota of truth in what Barack Obama said. Now, you've discovered that people now believe that this thing is real, but still he wasn't able to put policies and principles on the ground to contain the spread of the virus.
Yeah, you see, this is where, there are divergent views, okay? And whatever comes, this year is an election year. So you will never expect the major opposition party to praise you, okay?
But the figures are there.
Now, the figures are there. Do we take into account the population of America as a country? And the fact that, just as it was explained to us in Edo State here, okay, that the numbers are increasing because there are better mechanisms that have been put in place to track. Okay? Can it not be that the figure we see in America, of course, the initial problem of not taking it serious, made the spread to become astronomical before containment started? That we agreed. But once it has escaped, control, even if you police, control will have to depend and be determined by the level of compliance of citizens to directives being issued. Okay? So here, we have our situation. Government have put out policies, programs, and instructions. But when you go to so many places, people flagrantly disobeying those directives. So do you now hold government accountable if they go further to some extent, they become dictatorial? Okay? And violation of rights begins to happen. And we will begin to shout. Because no matter the trouble we have, nobody's rights should be violated. Okay? So the number escalating in America, for me, will be dependent on, one, the fact that they did not take it serious from the beginning. So the spread had already happened. The contacts, the escapes, had already happened in large doses. Okay? So now when the impact came, it overwhelmed everybody.
It's like right now you are shifting the blame from Donald Trump's administration. You are shifting the blame on the citizens.
No.
That's what it's like. You're the
No. Okay? But you see, I am one person that does not shy away from taking responsibility. Okay? Who is government? Government is all of us. Donald Trump is not everywhere. He acts based on instructions or advice given to him by those that understands this better. Donald Trump is not a medical doctor. He's a businessman. Okay? So some of the steps that he will take, of course the ball ends on his table. Okay? So if we are now, we will now be looking at, I have already agreed that from the onset, he played showman with it. I mean, we saw it, okay, when he was making jokes. His American, his Chinese virus, China should have informed us, you know, like in November. Is that the issue? That wasn't the issue. That was playing to the gallery. The issue is that the pandemic is here. What are solutions, you know, to be proffered? And
now all those times he used to like make those jokes, and of course he made so many funny jokes, talked about drinking disinfectant and the rest of it, though he later debunked it. Do you think people, American citizens, will inadvertently follow what he says or whatever he tweets?
Well, you see, this is where I say each and every one of us have a role to play, and we must take responsibility. So if President Buhari tells me to go and jump into Ikpoba River, when I know that I don't know how to swim, and he is in Abuja and I'm in Benin, I will go and jump into Ikpoba River and say, because I believe in my president, what he's saying. No, that is not it. You know, self-preservation is the first law of nature. Okay? So, you that have seen the situation, you've seen the problem, even when the leadership is not giving quality direction, okay, must you follow sheepishly and fall victim? The dead Americans cannot come and hold Donald Trump responsible for their death because they're already dead. Okay? So the only person that can hold, you know, Donald Trump and his administration responsible and accountable are those that are alive. So you have to preserve and protect yourself, you know, in order that you'll be able to analyze the situation and know whether those that were supposed to do certain things did it rightly or wrongly. And don't forget that America is a country with how many states? More than 50, almost 50 states, if I'm correct. Now, each state played different roles, okay? Some states got it better than others. And I think at a point, Donald Trump praised some states for the way they handled it, irrespective of party line. Okay? So, which means that he appreciated probably where his administration should have learned from those state governors that got it right. But of course, whatever goes wrong, you know, will be at the table of Mr. President. There is no denial about that. And that is why, you know, as the #1 citizen and as the leader, you know, you have to think ahead of others.
So you're not saying that right now he didn't think ahead of others in this situation?
In this situation from the onset, he didn't think ahead of others because, like I said, I am not saying that I was in the States. Okay? So, even though I didn't see Donald Trump, but I saw some American citizens, the way they behaved. Okay? And there are certain things that I will not say that I saw, you know, that I will not say here on air. But it happened. Okay? So it is a collective responsibility, my brother. Yes, like I said earlier on, former President Barack Obama, you know, has every right to criticize Donald Trump. But at that early stage, what did he say? Did he direct Mr. President as, you know, his successor to see this is what you are to do? Because when we begin to do blame game, it doesn't solve any problem because the pandemic is still here with us. I mean, if it had cleared and there is no more COVID-19, and then we are now making analysis and saying who did what he shouldn't have done, then it would have been a different thing entirely. But because the thing is still here with us, yes, if we don't say you didn't do it right, okay, the assumption that, yes, the pattern I've taken is the right pattern, may continue to lead to some more disastrous outings.
All right, now let's wind back the hand of time, because when these whole things started, from the report that we gathered, a flight was sent to China to evacuate American citizens. Close to about 40 of them were about to take it down to America, but Donald Trump didn't order them to be quarantined. And America said that that was the beginning of the disaster. Now, I haven't done that, or I say, I haven't skipped that very important step. When it came to the time for treatment, there's this Obamacare. And of course, Trump was totally against Obamacare. That also impacted negatively in the fight against COVID-19. Now, put it further a little bit. When you now talk about, how will I put it now, relief materials being given out, what really happened? It didn't get down to some Americans, or most of them were complaining that they didn't get the relief material on time. Other people with other ailments started complaining. Now, putting all these factors together and knowing fully that this is the political year, do you think it's going to dent the chances of Donald Trump?
Well, you see, in politics, 24 hours is such a long time. Anything can happen. Okay? And let's look at it from the analysis you've made.
Yeah.
Still goes down to where I started from. Okay? That from the onset, Donald Trump's administration did not take it serious. And Americans did not equally take it serious.
That means Barack Obama is correct in his assumption.
Okay? Now, I have said that Barack Obama has the right. It is his inalienable right.
He has the right, but is he correct
Now,
with what he said?
Now, if he says that from the beginning it was disastrous, he is putting the blame on President Trump's administration as the administration in power. But I have asked one question. At that point in time, that the Americans were, evacuated from China and brought back to America, and they were not quarantined. What did Barack Obama say at that point in time? It is not when things have gone wrong, totally, as a former leader, because people equally take whatever former presidents say very seriously. Okay? Because many people believe in him. So, wouldn't he have been an ambassador at that point in time to say, look, my people, this administration is not doing it right. This is the path that we should follow. That's my suggestion. Okay? Not when millions of Americans or thousands of Americans have died. Okay, what will his criticism now do? Will he resurrect the dead people? The answer is no.
Are you not saying that he said all this is political points for the Democrats? Is that where we're diving to right now?
In an election year, if you remember, it was the hurricanes, the management of the hurricanes, the tsunamis, that almost contributed to the Bush loss of, the election. To the Democrats. Okay? So, in an election year, you capitalize and use anything to show that your opponent does not have capacity. And I will not be very, very far wrong if I say that, because Barack Obama, as a former president, have thrown his weight behind his party's, front candidate. Okay? So what else do you think?
So for what you're saying right now, you're so politically inclined or motivated.
For me, anything that happens in an election year, political, you cannot divorce 100% political interest, being at play. Whether you are right or wrong. Okay? Now, this has been said, mind you, the death that happens does not know party line. It's American citizens that are dying. Okay? So, I mean, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Because, you know, I do international forum and I look at my own country. Our former president talked about COVID-19. Did he say it in a way to condemn the present administration? No. He said it in such a way that, you know, to show that all hands should be on deck to solve the problem, because he knows no party line. So that was the question that I asked first. I am not trying to defend anybody, because if Donald Trump was serious from the beginning and stopped thinking that it was a Chinese problem, probably the situation would have been better than it is currently in America.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Chima William. This is an abridged version of International Forum. You have just 30 seconds to wrap it up. Do you see America coming out of this soonest, or to go beyond this year, 2020? Briefly.
Well, if I follow what America's leadership has said, Donald Trump, as the president of America, has said that, you know, based on advice from medicals, you know, that it is most likely that COVID-19 will cure itself, because the vaccine are expected to come out, you know, more than a year ahead.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So I cannot say.
I'm saying, thank you so much, Barrister Chima Williams. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. Well, that's it for the show today. It's an abridged version. We'll see you next week, Tuesday. God willing. Bye for now.